Hello, and welcome to the Uncensored Journey Podcast, a raw, unfiltered guide to truths that matter. We are diving deep, getting real about what it takes to truly transform inside and out. Ready for truth? Ready for transformation? You're in the right spot. I'm Cyndee, and with me, as always, is Gabriela. Now, let's get uncensored. Today, we are going to be discussing understanding the importance of reading labels and also the cost of convenience, like what convenience in the grocery store is costing you in terms of your health and your bank account, and maybe a little bit of tips and tricks on how to avoid those things. I know, Gabriela, you had some wisdom to share with us in this topic.
Yes. Hi, Cyndee, and hi, everyone. It's good to be here. Yeah, so labels, they are so important, and it could make the difference between putting crap in your body versus not. Some simple tips and guidelines are, if you don't know what something means, don't buy it. Chances are it is a highly processed substance of some sort. Here are some examples for MSG, monosodium glutamate. I don't hydrolyzed protein, soy extract, yeast extract, protein isolate, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, glucose syrup, maize, corn syrup, corn sweetener. Sugar, we're going to talk about it in a lot of detail on another episode, just for your own reference. Glucose, fructose, maltose, cane sugar, beet sugar, brown sugar, raw sugar, turbinado sugar. What? Seed oils, vegetable oil, canola oil, safflower, cotton, grapeseed oil, corn oil, and all the oils.
Gross.
Yes, extremely gross. And those are just to name a few. If you pick up any plant-based milk or really like any plant-based food, chances are that you're not going to know at least 3 or 4 ingredients on those labels. 90% of the food out there that's plant-based is junk food. Unlike the perception that they put out there with the front packaging and like everything is natural and it's clean and XYZ, you insert great marketing label, they're not. So yes, pay attention to the labels, read through everything that they have on the ingredients. And if you don't know what it means, if you don't understand, if you're not sure what it means, don't buy it. Oh, another favorite of mine is natural flavor or natural flavoring. What is that? And though when you see that, you just know that they're trying to sneak in something that is really bad for you and that they do not want to be spelled out as an actual ingredient. So what does that actually mean? If you don't know what it is, then don't buy it. What are your favorites, Cyndee? Poor labeling choices.
I just can't with any of this stuff. My favorite is like when it says that it's like diet or health or fat-free or low in sugar or whatever the case may be. To me, I see those and I'm like, oh, chemical. But as you were talking, I don't buy anything that says low fat, low cal, diet. I don't buy any of that crap because to me, it's just chemicals and disease is waiting to happen. But as you were talking, you're talking about plant-based diets or plant-based food sold at the grocery store. I was like just curious. So I looked up the Impossible Burgers, and the Impossible Burger has soy protein. This is from their website. Soy protein delivers essential nutrition, and so it has soy flavor. It turns out the key to meat flavor is the same molecule that it takes to, oh, it just kicked me off. So it has like flavoring that makes a great source of yeast extract, adds a savory kick. These aren't even all the ingredients. The fat is sunflower oil. It gives its juicy sizzle. And the binders are a bunch of stuff that I cannot even begin to pronounce, but then just a generic food starch. I can't find a full list of ingredients, but when I buy hamburger, the ingredients is beef. and the natural fat from the animal is this gives it the sizzle. And the protein is great and amazing. It's just interesting to me that we are selling this as, first of all, that they could put ground beef on here because it says impossible ground beef. It doesn't say like plant, it says later down and smaller, it says a meat derived from plants, but it's not really meat. It's lying. Or that's my, to answer your question long way around, is the audacity to say this is ground beef, or this is even like you mentioned the dairy-free milks. It's not milk. Like, how do you milk a nut? Like, how do you milk an oat?
Yeah, it should be. In Trader Joe's, they actually do say beverages. They don't say milk.
It's good, but like I've made nut milk. I have this machine that makes nut milk when back in my vegan days, and it's essentially just nut juice. You're like literally like blending nuts with water, and that's how it makes quote unquote nut milk. So I just don't understand this tendency to lie, saying that I don't know, like
Misrepresentation.
misrepresent, yeah, what it is, because people at the guise of it being more healthy, right? I look at this Impossible Burger as not more healthy. I look at it as just a whole bunch of fucking chemicals that I much rather just eat a piece of cow, right? At least I know it's in there. It makes me really sad that's there. But again, people don't read labels. But I mentioned on this podcast many times that I used to be vegan. I was a vegan for almost 18 years, and I really had to learn how to read labels then. But I was looking for like animal products, right? So I wasn't eating any animal products, and even animal products, those names are hidden throughout the packaging as well. There's a bunch of different names for things, but or things that you don't consider, you wouldn't think are animal products, like, well, I wasn't eating honey, or like red dye number 40 because it has like beetles, or things like that, canuba wax because it's got animal products, things along those lines. But I really started reading labels then, and then it's moved into, now that I don't eat any plant-based things like that, I have moved into that part where I still read the labels to make sure that I'm not getting crap. And like, I don't know about you, but the least amount of ingredients is I'm more likely to buy it. So I like shit that says, I'll buy occasionally, guilty pleasure, I'll buy chips that are avocado oil, and the ingredients are potatoes, avocado oil, salt, period. They're fried in avocado oil, they have salt, and they're potatoes. And I'm not gonna say I eat them all the time because I don't, but occasionally it's a nice little treat. The least amount of ingredients is what I'm really looking for. And
ingredients that you understand, right?
yeah, ingredients that I can pronounce, right? Like I can't even pronounce half of the things that are mentioned in these Impossible Burgers. Nor do I really care what they are, because I'm not going to eat them. Can't pronounce them, I'm not going to eat them. Because I can pronounce potatoes, avocado oil, and salt. I can pronounce beef. I can pronounce cow, like milk, dairy, whatever. Those things are great, and they're all natural things. And I think we've just gotten so far away from the way like our ancestors ate, like even like my great grandparents, or even my grandparents, right? My grandma grew up on a farm. Even the way that she ate growing up was like ridiculously different than how she ate later in her life, moving away from the farm and then now living in a city and trying to feed kids and that kind of stuff. And the cost, the convenience of like easier things really has took a toll, right? Like they cause a lot of health issues. They cause all those ingredients that you don't know what they are. They end up causing a toll on your health as well. And also beware that even if you buy the thing all the time, read the ingredients every time, because a lot of times they change, like a company will change, or they'll sell the product to a bigger company, and then they'll change the formula or the recipe of it. And now it has stuff. So something that didn't necessarily have crap in it, now it's added crap because a bigger company bought it and they're trying to save cost. From a business standpoint, amazing. From a health standpoint, fuck you. No, yeah. Yeah, I make sure I try to read. Do you want to talk a little bit about the convenient, like the cost of convenience, and talking and about how our like trying to things being more convenient is costing us in the long run, not only bank account money, but also our health? I touched on it a little bit, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Health is wealth. I think that as a society, we've become so lazy and so complacent and so focused on immediate gratification. Thank you. Yeah, immediate gratification and just having everything at the snap of our fingers, right? Like we could get food delivered, groceries delivered. Hell, you can even get weed delivered depending on what state you are in. Alcohol, literally anything that you could imagine. Chances are if you live in a metropolitan area or in a city or what have you, you're going to be able to get anything delivered to your door. And I think that's a really detrimental thing that we're experiencing. Going back to thousands of years ago, our ancestors were hunting for food. They had to travel like a lot and for half a day or a day to go get supplies. Now, so we're moving less, we're eating crap, we're constantly eating junk food, or we opt for fast food or whatever the case may be because we don't have time. And yet we don't have time. We don't have time to focus on our health, time to take care of our health so that we don't pay the repercussions later, and so that we don't have diabetes to the point that you need amputation or that you develop some crazy cancer or any other disease. So we have time for binge watching TV, watching shows, watching toxic news and all these other things, but we don't have time for ourselves, for our health and for our long-term like quality of life. Like we're trading so much for like crappy outputs. Like so anyway, that's how I think about it. And I think that because there's so much availability of all these products that, I mean, to be frank, they're terrible for the consumer. They're terrible for our bodies. Because everything is so available, it's very easy to get distracted and to lose focus of what your body needs and the quality of food and whole food that you need to put in your body so that you have a superior experience and so that you don't get sick down the road in 5, 10, 20 years from now, depending on where you are in your life cycle. So that's my perspective.
I agree. And that's like exactly why I started making my own things. I started, and I know it sounds like a lot when I tell people, they're like, oh, it's so impressive you do all this stuff. Really, it's not. It takes like seconds and it takes just a little bit of planning, but it goes a long way. Like I have a schedule. So like I make my own like onion soup mix. I make my own taco seasoning, make my own fajita seasoning, my own like cream of mushroom soup powder. Like I make my own muffin mixes and my own brownie mixes and all my own stuff. And I have that now I have the convenience of that stuff throughout the month or throughout every 2 months or whatever. So I know what I use and like I have a schedule. So every couple of weeks I'll refill all of the stuff, or every month I'll refill all of the stuff, wherever it falls on the schedule. So I'm only like having 3 days of work that will last me like a couple of months. I do a lot of prepping. So prepping like canning stuff and things like that. And it really just takes, I'm making a meal. Instead of just having leftovers thrown in the refrigerator to rot and go bad, I just can them and now I have it shelf stable on my shelf. And I have a pressure canner that's electric. It's a little easier, but I was water bathing shit for a really long time. So I earned this pressure canner, but electric pressure canner. But it's just makes it a little bit of time and effort. You can have those conveniences if you just make a little bit of time for it. And also it saves me money in the long run too, just at the grocery store. Not only is it helping me with my health because I know exactly what's going in everything that I'm eating, but also like a jar of mayonnaise now is $7-8 for a jar of mayonnaise, but I can make my own mayonnaise that's fresh and tastes delicious with oils that I want to use. Like I use avocado oil or tallow sometimes, but I can use what I want to use in it, and it costs me like $1, pennies, right? It cost me like pennies to make this mayonnaise, but it also takes like from getting all the ingredients out to putting it in the refrigerator, a total of 3 minutes. That's how long it takes to make mayonnaise. It's not a huge deal. I think we've been sold on this idea of convenience that like Don't make it yourself. It takes so much time. It'd be so much easier to just drive to the store and buy this thing. And to be honest, it takes me more time to get in my car, drive all the way to the store, walk to the aisle that the mayonnaise is in, pick up the mayonnaise, take it to the cash register, pay for it, go drive, then drive back home and put it in my shelf than it does for me to just take the 3 things out or 4 things out of my shelf that needs to make this mayonnaise and make the mayonnaise. It's just the idea, like we've gotten so far away from our food, like knowing what we're putting in our bodies and knowing what's in our food, that it's okay to just be like, oh, sucralose is fine. Let's just have that. It says it's fat. It says it's sugar free. Let's just eat that. I'd much rather put some honey in something or some maple syrup or some sort of natural sugar, coconut sugar, whatever, some natural sugar that's I know exactly where it came from, like what it's doing. I buy local honey because I like to support the local farmers here, but also it's from this area, right? It also helps with like allergies and stuff. Like I moved from the Bay Area to Los Angeles and I never had allergies in my life. I moved there and all of a sudden I had allergies and somebody said, eat honey, the local honey. And I did. And you want to know something? I just stopped having those allergies. There's just so many benefits to knowing what's in your food. And it's just this idea that it's too hard is stupid. It really is. And I know that you have a lot going on. Your mom cooks from scratch. So it's the same. There's somebody doing it in your household. So it's not like you're not reaping those benefits. And I think that many households have that option. There's somebody that has time to do it, or you could tag team, right? Like maybe you have 20 minutes on a Saturday and you can make some fucking mayonnaise, and the rest of the day, the rest of the week, your mom is making the stuff. There's always, I feel like you could always find time for the things that you want. Like you said, we could always have time for binging stuff. We always have time for video games. We always have time for X, Y, and Z, but we never have time for our health, and we never have time for ourselves, right? Like no, like self-care seems to always be last. And I think that knowing what's in your food and eating healthy and preparing your meals is self-care to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, you could not only save your health long term, but you could also save money in the short term and long term. Yes, and you could also be environmentally friendly, because if you have to drive to the store, buy the thing, and then come back, you're also like supporting, right? Like you're increasing the carbon footprint. So if that's something that you're concerned of, you could also think about that.
But also one other thing that you just mentioned that environmentally is I'm not using single-use plastic crap. I'm sorry, plastic does not recycle. There only a certain amount of plastic can recycle. So most of the plastic that we quote unquote recycle just gets thrown into the landfill. So at home, I can make my stuff in glass. Like back in the olden days, things were in glass on the shelves. They're not. Now everything's in plastic. So I don't have to worry about any kind of plastic crap seeping into my food. I don't have to worry about any of that either. And also I don't have to worry, all my jars, like all my canning or mason jars or the jars that I use for ketchups and mustards and mayonnaises and things like that are all glass. And I can reuse them over and over and over and over. So it's another benefit too, to do those things. And it's just, like you said, there's just so many benefits to it. So many benefits.
And I have a furry baby, and my mom and we've been doing some research on that as well. So what you do for yourself, do it for your pets too, because the quality of food that pet food has is even like worse than humans. So really, I would challenge you to educate yourself a little bit and see how you can make some whole food for your pets, because their quality of life will improve and elevate.
I cook for my dogs and I can it. So it's show. I don't want them to die. And there's just, have you read the ingredients? I know you have. In the back of pet food, it's like crap, poison crap, more poison crap, poison. Like, why would you I wouldn't feed my worst enemy this food. Why would I feed my babies?
That's right.
Babies. I know. Yeah. I'm curious though. Have you made cat food?
Not me. My mom has. Yeah, but it's easy. It's very easy and way cheaper. It's 70% cheaper than buying pet food.
Yeah, same with the dog food. And also you can I make it in bulk and then I have to do it one time for a month. I freeze a lot too, but I freeze it and I can it, and then it's just ready to go. And they enjoy it much more because it comes out of, I think my dogs enjoy it much more because they think it's people food because it comes out of a jar instead of the bin where their kibble used to come out of. So trick a little bit. Damn dogs. I love them. But yeah, I agree. Our pets are definitely important too. And also that saves you money in the long run too, because your pet health, like vet bills are expensive. It's a lot of money for that too. And also animals, like I like the parts of I don't like the chicken organs or anything like that. So that's something that I just mix into their food and they love it. So I don't waste things anymore either. So like I get to use all of the stuff that I buy instead of I'm guilty of throwing away the gizzards and stuff in the chickens because I don't like them, but they do. That's important for them. I also doing your own stuff mostly your own stuff at home. Like I shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Rarely do I go into an aisle for stuff. It also helps me with like at the store, like impulse purchases because I always have a plan when I go to the store because I know what I'm going to make for that week. And I also know like what I need to stock pantry stock. So anything that I need to make, like any mixes or anything that I need to replenish, I already have that going. So I save money on not buying impulse stuff. And also because I don't eat the shit that they make at the pre-made at the store anymore. So no rotisserie chickens or like baked chicken at the thing or whatever they have. It's been helpful to like, again, back to the reading the labels, right?
Yeah. Do you have any tips on where people could buy their spices?
I no. Here's why. I usually buy my spices now at like Indian or Asian markets just because I feel like there's less of a chance of like craziness. But I read an article recently about even organic spices, like name brand organic spices, they are laced with like poison, pesticides and chemicals and stuff. And so I was like, dang, this really sucks because I use a lot of spices. But what I've been doing recently is making my own. We recently just got a freeze dryer, so I like onion powder and garlic powder. I just freeze dry onion and garlic and then blend it all, our food processor it and make it into powders. I've been doing a lot of that, like my own celery salts and celery powders and tomato, like whatever I need, dehydrated onions, whatever I need. I've been making myself.
And so what about pepper?
Pepper, I'm not even gonna lie. I buy my pepper at Costco currently, the coarse ground pepper. I know it's probably not the best. I would buy it in whole form and peppercorns and grind it yourself. That's actually the better option. I usually get both when I'm there, but I get like pepper is just this like it gets in my nose, so I hate grinding it in bulk. So I just don't. That's my one thing. But I do get the one at Costco, the big giant bottle at Costco. Another place that I sometimes get seasonings is, like I said, the Asian or the like Indian markets. A lot of the kosher markets too have good seasonings. If you're in LA, there's this place called like the Valley Marketplace, and there's a few like scattered throughout the valley and I think in LA somewhere, but they also have a really good selection of spices, but also their spices are not laced with crap. It's like a Mediterranean-y type. I'm not even sure what kind of market it is. They have a whole bunch of international food kind of stuff. Um, but they're really good as well. I'm not sure if they have those anywhere else. But I used to buy like in the places that have like bulk spices, but then I stopped doing that in the bins where you can pull them out. I stopped doing that only because I had gone to go buy something and there was like obviously there was two different colors of something, so there's obviously other stuff was spilled into it. So I'm like, now I don't even know what's in it. I stopped doing that.
That makes sense. Thanks for sharing. I had no idea, but I mean, nothing surprises me that they spray even the organic stuff. That's sad.
Yeah, and also organic in America is the rules are very lax. So
I know.
yeah, it's you can have laced freaking herbs, spices, but you can't And you can have weed delivered at your house at 2 a.m, but raw milk is illegal in 37 states. So there's that.
Priorities.
It's a little silly, but like I said in other podcasts, that if it's being recommended that it's bad for me, I'm going to do or good for me, I'm going to do the exact opposite. And if you're telling me it's bad for me, I'm going to assume that it's good for me. That's just how I'm rolling these days, and it's working for me. I can't do what you got to do, but that's what's working for me right now. And it seems like a natural, good idea to just know what's in your food and what you're putting in your body. And I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes you just don't know. You have to like take a chance, like especially with like herbs or spices or something like that you buy. Like you can't, I'm sure you can trace everything to where it comes from, but that's just a lot of stuff. That's a lot of effort. But I guess effort is worth it if you really want to know, but sometimes you can't. Like I tried tracing some stuff and you just hit a dead end. There's that. Do you have any last minute words of wisdom for us?
No, I think everything's been said, right? If you don't know what something is, don't buy it.
Yeah. Now, I just one last thing to point out is that we didn't mention fast food at all, going through fast foods and stuff. And I just saw this thing online, like a receipt. Somebody had found a receipt from a fast food place from many years ago, like the 90s. And it was like a family of 4 could eat for $20 or whatever. And now like the fast food has gotten so expensive that you can make it cheaper at home. But we're sold now that fast food is convenient, fast food is cheaper, fast food is whatever. And I was guilty of that too, thinking that as well. But if you really look into it, and also again with those dang seed oils, you're just getting a lot of crap. The convenience probably will kill you. With that, we want to thank you so very much for joining us this week. Please can subscribe on all of the platforms, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Uncensored Journey. You could follow me at The Worth Warrior, and you can find Gabriela at Phoenix Medicine. Until next week, bye.